let's review the symbols. The judge represents God. The adversary represents Satan. The widow symbolizes the church. What kind of church? Just the church in times of peace like today, where everybody has plenty? Absolutely not. It's the church in dire straits. The church of the end time, the church of the tribulation, we're going to notice. And yet we notice that there's a delay. But after the delay, what does God do? God answers the pleas of His people. Now the question is, what is this parable really referring to in terms of time? Folks, I have no doubts whatsoever that Jesus is here speaking about the terrible time of tribulation that is going to fall upon this earth. It's going to be a time of trouble such as never has been seen in the history of the world. And only those who have the patience of the saints will stand before the beast and his image and will refuse the mark even on pain of death. They will not be immediately delivered. There will be a delay. They will have to go through this time of trouble, lose everything that they have, and yet they will not cease to come to God in prayer and to plead for His blessing and to plead for His protection and to plead for His presence with them. By the way, most Christians are expecting a pre-tribulation rapture. Are you going to need a special kind of patience and faith to get through this period? We noticed immediately before Revelation, or after Revelation 13 verse 10, you have the beast, his image and his mark. Immediately after the third angel's message, you have what? A reference to those who keep the commandments of God and have the faith of Jesus, and those who have the patience of the saints. And so it's speaking about the severe crisis that is going to come upon the world, and the patience of the saints will be needed by God's people. But if you believe that you're going to go to heaven before the tribulation, why would you prepare for it? See, the devil is shrewd. He knows that the church is going to be here during the tribulation. He knows that we're going to need unshakable and unbreakable faith. He knows that we're going to need the patience of the saints to get through this period, to reject the beast and his image and the mark. And so he teaches Christians, says, don't worry about that. That's for the Jews after the church is in heaven. And when they find themselves in the time of trouble, they will be totally unprepared for the crisis that is taking place upon the world. By the way, that word elect that is used in the parable, I want you to notice Matthew 24 and verses 22 and 24, how that word elect is used in the context of the time of trouble and the final tribulation. Matthew 24, verse 22. It says, and except those days, this is the tribulation according to the context, should be what? Shortened. There should be no flesh be saved. But for whose sake? There's the key word in the parable. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be what? Shortened. Are God's people going to go through the tribulation? Yes. Is there going to be a delay? There most certainly will be a delay. But is God going to intervene to answer their pleas? Absolutely. Now notice verse 24. For there shall arise false Christs and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, insomuch that if it were possible, they shall deceive whom? The very elect. There's the word again. So when does this parable especially apply to? It applies to the period of tribulation through which the elect will go, according to Jesus in Matthew chapter 24.